But an interesting conversation just came about, and it was about how men explain things to women and how women ask the questions that they ask. Now, I was just telling Unique that, and from my perspective, women ask questions that our mind as men aren't prepared to ask yet, but they're demanding an answer on sight, which I understand because they want to know what's going on. They want to make sure they ain't being played with and that we're not lying to them. But my take on it is women ask questions in a way where we're not there in their thoughts yet. We're not there to answer the question. Sometimes it'll be 2 weeks or so before we actually give them a defined answer, let alone the answer that we want to give y'all. Don't be that you answer that we give you at that time. We just try to create peace. You feel where I'm coming from? So if you ask me a question, babe, why didn't you do it this way? Or you didn't think to tell me? Or so why would you act like you didn't see me when I was coming across the block? Like, I really didn't see you. So you mean to tell me you didn't see me coming when I was clearly waving my hand? Like, I didn't see you, honestly. Look, I came around the corner. Like, and then that conversation, such as that was pretty basic. But the conversation simple as that, it just says, I'll say it this way. 2 weeks later, my answer would have been, to be honest, babe, I didn't see you. My mind was thinking on a street fight. I'm trying to get to this boxing match. You feel me? I'm trying to get to this show. I wasn't even trying to pay attention to you, to be honest with you. But if I would have told you that off rip, you probably would have had, okay, so now I ain't important to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Let me know how you feel on that.
Men might take time, or most men in general might take time to get the answers right, to get the right explanation of what's going on. A lot of times us women, we definitely will be asking more and more questions towards, the middle of the conversation. Like, okay, so if that's how you feel, then why you ain't just da-da-da? And it will basically just make the conversation go left when it don't need to be. But if you do take some time here to kind of get your thoughts together, I mean, that's smart and that's good. But a lot of us women don't understand that because we do want to answer right then and there. We want to talk about it right now.
What was the name of the podcast we was just listening to? Tonight's Talk?
Tonight's Conversation.
So, and whatever the guy was saying, I don't know him, but if you all know him, great. He don't sound like a bad guy. He sound like he's really passionate about what he's saying. But one piece of information that was missed upon, someone said something like, not how do you ask a question to a man, but it was like how we explain things, and why is it that we would explain things better to a different woman than explaining it to the woman that we have now.
Yes, her question, it was a lady and she was asking a question to the male on the show, and she was just saying, I'm very direct with a lot of things that I say and the way I answer questions. And so when I am, asking questions to men, why is it that men can't be the same way with me? Why is it that men, can't be direct with me? His answer was something similar to, well, a man just don't like you like that.
Here's what's wrong with that. And that it's partially right, but there's some information that's missing. I have to be mentally relaxed enough as a woman, and I'm gonna put myself in a woman's shoes for a moment. I have to be mentally receptive enough to be able to understand, okay, he's telling me the best way he can, not that I'm just prepared to hit him with a next question so I can try to catch him slipping so I can win the argument. And sometimes women do this without being cognitive.
Absolutely.
They're not aware, they just want to know. And because we're so, put myself back in me, we're so not wanting to disagree or wanting to keep the peace that we just say the first thing that comes to our head. There's really no other way to put it. We're not trying to go into no unnecessary conversation. We ain't trying to go into no open doors because, to be honest, we don't want to have the conversation in the first place. We really don't. But if it means having peace in the household, we would give some sort of answer that we think is right, just to create peace, not knowing that opens up another door. And here's the clicker. Sometimes because we want to shut down the conversation so fast, you all catch us in a lie that wasn't intended to be a lie. It goes like this. Well, but you just said two questions ago, you just said something else. So which one is it? You know what? Don't even. Just don't. You don't even and that don't even be the case though, low key.
You right? So I do have a question then.
Talk.
One of my questions, and I always thought this, but again, I feel like it does depend on the person. It's not necessarily a general statement we can make, but does that kind of tie into men having some type of communication issues? Because even though the question might be something you don't want to talk about or something you don't really want to explain, and maybe you need some time to think of the answer, if you can't just tell me being 100% and actually understand that, yeah, I'm going to have questions to back up my first question, and actually, take my time with this situation that we have, does that mean you have a hard time communicating? Because this should just be an open door, to be honest, about, hey, what have you done, this and that, and
All right, that's a loaded question. That's a very loaded question. No, I don't think that means that men have communication issues. Okay. It just means that our head is in a different atmosphere than where your head is. And because we as men, and I mean men who's really trying to make it work, we don't want to upset our women, so we go for the easiest way out. Let me just, hey, I just went to the store and just came back home. Because we don't really care to entertain things that we just don't care about. It's just not how you all... Go ahead, because you got a question you burning to ask me. Go ahead.
No, because I feel like I'm giving out a prime example of, I guess, what you are trying to say here. But if you're not willing to just tell me, like you said, you're just giving me the answer you kind of think we want to hear just to keep the peace.
Right.
So that means you're not being honest. So that means you can't be real with your woman. But I guess I'm doing what you said women would do anyways, ask more and more questions. About, like, I'm giving you an example.
Okay, so and it's funny because I'm glad that she can see the conundrum, right? Yeah. If we don't answer the question, okay, we got something to hide.
Right,
we
it's
do ask a question. We know that it opens the doors for 20 other questions that, yeah, we can answer.
And now I got more questions.
And see, we do not have that kind of, we don't be on that type of time, okay. Right? Work, my life, work, game, gym, read, school. That's it. Anything else and of course taking my lady out, that's in itself. Anything outside of that, I'm not telling you about what happened at the gas station. I'm not trying to tell you about what happened 3 or 4 nights ago that you remember that I forgot, and because I forgot, oh, so you forgot what happened? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, keep up your lies. And now you built up a whole book of stories that comes out at dinner time, right? Now we're on a date. Now you really want to tell me what happened that night? Unless it's something really legitimate. But let's just be real. Some questions that are asked, we can just dead the whole thing. But you all looking for persistent accuracy. Or I don't know if you're looking for us to look in our eyes and look and see if we're really lying. I understand that perspective. But we just try to take the easiest way out. I don't want to say it that way, but that's just our outlet. Because y'all put y'all cards on the table, so dang, you know what I just thought about? We could just, babe, if I answer this question, it's going to open the door for 20 other questions. So how about we do this? This is exactly what I did. I went to the store. Yes, she tried to talk to me. I was attracted to her, but I thought I was thinking, I got a lady at home. I got a child at home. I ain't really trying to get into all that, and I brought my butt here. That's what happened at the gas station. Nothing more, nothing less. Period. Drop the mic and then leave, fellas. Leave. If there's anything else, you signing the death warrant. We ain't trying to just establish territory off rip.
And I would love that.
All you doing is establishing territory off rip. She ain't got to speculate. We ain't got to go into no questions that's freaking uncharted territory. We ain't with all that. We not. That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Listen. That's crazy. That's what I'm talking about. No, hold on. That's the energy I'm definitely talking about when it comes to just, in general, letting us know what's going on. I do think, and this is kind of another topic, but with men being leaders, men being dominant, telling us what it is. And again, you have to know your lady. You have to understand, what your lady kind of expects, how she is, to where this might work, this might not work. But for certain women that do want to be submissive and likes, submitting to her man and just in general having her man lead, telling us straight up exactly look, this is what happened. This is what it is. I ain't trying to do this, but that's way better than holding things in, telling us half of a story, 2 weeks later coming back to us with a whole nother story. Tell me what it is. Tell me what happened so we can move on. And so I can ask you my questions because I got more questions. Don't get me wrong. I got more things to say. But let me know what it is off rip.
Being upfront to the point and let them know that you're saving time, so I ain't trying to run you in circles.
Absolutely.
And believe me, fellas, they'll know when we capping.
Exactly. And to be honest, another thing it helps out, not only does it help out the dominance in a relationship, but it helps out the trust. And it also just lets a woman know that you are going to at least be, to a certain extent, honest and open with communication. That's a big thing. It's hard to have a man lead you or have that type of leadership. True. When they can't talk, or they can't really say what they have to say, or they, not even that they can't do it, but they have to take time, or they have to sit here and, I understand, don't get me wrong, some things are difficult to really say.
Right.
Some things are, like, I really do have to have time to get my thoughts together, because I might say something crazy, which is not what I mean to say. But at the same time, if you do, have some type of like leadership aspect, if we're taking this to work, if you are the boss, or you are HR, you are, a lead, a supervisor, whatever, there are going to be constantly, employees coming up to you, asking you certain questions, and you might not be expecting them. You might not necessarily know the right way. In your head, you know exactly, okay, look, we having some type of difficulties when it comes to payroll. We're having some type of difficulties when it comes to this and that, but you're not going to necessarily tell the employee that. But you have to be prepared for those difficult questions. You have to understand that you do have to, if you are going to be in a leadership role, dominance, you have to, actually show that. It has to be, because we're going to believe just what you do and what you say more than anything. So I agree with both sides, though. I see how it could take some time depending on what we're talking about, but I can also see if you just say it flat out, what it is, what it ain't. I see a woman having more respect if you do just put everything on the table. But again, it just depends on what woman you're dealing with.
Fair. 100%. We had a discussion, y'all, and it was about submissiveness versus male dominance. And you have to say it again. You said something like, a man want to be dominant but doesn't know how to lead.
Right. So men want to be dominant and they want to be the leaders, based off of what they hear, what they see. But at the same time, are they able to actually put actions towards that role to where you are a leader? You are actually able to dominate a situation versus, okay, I'm just going to be dominant because I'm the man, you're the woman. Do you know how to lead in that aspect? If I was to trust you with my money or with certain things, are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to really take the right steps to actually propel us into our next, goal in life, or our next, accomplishment? Some men are not able to, but they want to be the lead and they want to be, the dominant one in the relationship. Sometimes you might have to have that as the woman role or the woman being that role, because men, want to do it just because it sounds good.
You know what? Maybe I don't blame some of the women out there that not doing it just because they want to post it on my own boss chick. I got this, I got that. But for women who really holding it down and they have to be the leaders because the man that they are with is lacking in his man area. That alone says, dude, maybe you're not doing something right. Mm-hmm. That should be a light bulb for us, but instead we see it as a challenge. We see it as okay, so you'll need me to say you'll need me. And you said something powerful the other day. That's why some men don't want their woman to work. They want to feel like they're in control. They want to feel like their woman is going to need and rely on them. But what Kira said, giving me $20 a week, that ain't gonna do nothing for me.
Nothing at all. What I'm gonna do with that? Can we also say, though, some men don't mind being submissive. Some men might not mind having a woman that actually is taking control of certain things. Some men want to just sit back, play video games all day. Babe, you pay all the, here's the money, but you kind of delegate the bills and everything. Like, I'm not really caring about none of that. I want to just sit back, relax, watch TV, play my games. That's it. Like, I don't really care. You actually lead. You buy this, you do that, you do this and da-da. It's our money together, but I don't really care about none of that. So some men are okay with taking the back seat. They are okay with having their woman kind of do everything. So I think it just depends, again, on who you're dealing with. But it is important to say, if you are going to try and be dominant or want to be the leader in the relationship, to stand by what you're saying, to actually hold your actions onto what you're saying. Because, actions speak louder than words. You know, if you're saying you want to lose weight, but we see you eating Twinkies and stuff every night, are we really taking you serious for real? No, we're not. Like, no, we're not. I see, you know, the whipped cream on your lips. Like, we're not taking you serious. You're not real about it. So then again, we have to do what we got to do as women. Step up, man. We got to take that role. So it just depends. You got to definitely mean what you say.
So if you was to say one thing before we wrap this up, if there was one thing that you need to address to all the men that are hearing this now or that will hear this in the future, what is it that you would tell us to motivate us in that regard? What would you tell us to start seeing things from this perspective because we have a better chance at winning? What would you say to us?
Well, I think I would definitely just say in general, be very open and honest about what it is that you can and you can't do. Because I cannot be expecting things from a man and expecting a man to do certain things if he has already stated he in general is not in that position to do that. So one of the things when it comes to being a leader is also being able to communicate how you feel, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, what's going on, so that I know that's leading. You're already telling me what's going on. So you're already giving me kind of, you know, the leeway or the pathway of what I would need to do in my situation. So I definitely think just being honest, having communication, and being able to stand on what you say. If you say you're going to do something, do it. There's no question about it. Just do it. Or again, like I said, be honest and say you can't do it. And that's still a leader because you're still leading me to now do it. You're still telling me like, hey, I can't do that. So somebody got to do it. Like we gotta handle that.
Right.
So basically being just honest and open and also standing on what you say. Those are the two things I would say that will make you a great leader in general.
All right. I'm going to flip myself the same question. If I was to say anything to address any of you ladies out there, I would say this. Understand that us men, we don't always be on the same thinking plane as you all might be. We understand that you want to answer, you want a direct answer, and you're looking for inconsistent. Or you could be looking for consistencies. You know, we know that you all want to know the truth, but some things we aren't mentally prepared for yet. Now, for some, I can kind of see them saying, no, that ain't good enough. That's just an excuse. But no, we really just don't be on that thinking plane, which is sometimes why the answers and responses be inconsistent or wait, that don't add up. With men, it's always a whole lot of that's not adding up. Mm-hmm. For the ones that are faithful as well, there is no stipulations. But understand that we are men. Understand that women and men are ideally one and the same, so men have emotions too. And just as much as, you know, a woman can express it from a more feminine type of emotion, you know, the crying and the comfort and the sadness, men has their emotions, which is anger, which is pride, it's getting mad, it's that ferocious, you know, it's the side that you all don't want to see. But with us, we zone in when we see you all cry, when we see you all are emotional. Okay, we bow down to it. That's a submissive point in that, as far as emotion goes. Mm-hmm. So in raps, understanding that men have emotions. Sometimes we don't be on the same thinking plane as you all, and understand that some things for us is because we feel like your questions are trivial. We feel like, okay, where are we going with this? And we're trying to think 10 steps ahead when we're 10 steps behind. We're not ready for that, but we act like we do, and we're ready for the conversation because theoretically we're not, or legit speaking, we're not. That's all I gotta say. You all know what time it is. We will continue this on the next segment. This is your boy Cornell.
Unique.
Y'all know what time it is. Not number right line, LIT. See you next week. Peace.
Peace out.